Something inside you already knows. You can feel the silence vibrating, the weight of unspoken truths hanging in the air between you and him. He has seen something in you that feels impossible to hold, impossible to name, yet impossible to forget. The angels have been watching closely. They say he was not looking for you, not consciously. But you appeared like a whisper from heaven. A quiet storm. A gentle revolution in his soul. You didn't enter his world demanding love. You didn't beg for attention. You simply existed, and that was enough to awaken something he thought was long gone. He sees your light, but he doesn't understand it. He tells himself it can't be real, that no one could look at him the way you do and not want something in return. But your love was different. You came with no conditions, no performance, no mask. And that unraveled him. The angels say, he saw in your silence a peace he never knew he craved. And now, that peace haunts him more than loneliness ever did. He carries your presence like a hidden flame. He speaks about you in metaphors to people who don't understand. He doesn't know how to explain it, because how do you explain being seen for the first time? How do you describe the way her eyes didn't ask to change you, just wanted to meet you where you were? You were placed in his path for a reason far beyond romance. You are a catalyst, a messenger, a mirror. He was walking in darkness, and your light disturbed the quiet. You showed him what love could feel like when it stops trying to fix and starts choosing to understand. And now he's changing. Quietly. Slowly. Not because he wants to impress you, but because something inside him is shifting. A longing has been ignited. A truth too sacred to deny. Not a truth of logic, but of spirit. He's starting to see you as the answer to a question his soul didn't know how to ask. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1 verse 5. You, dear soul, are not a coincidence in his story. You are the divine interruption. The breath of God inside the ache. And it's only just beginning. Emotional barriers, you think he doesn't care. But the truth is, he cares so much that it terrifies him. He has built his life on control, on appearing untouched, unaffected. And then came you. With your quiet strength, your way of listening, your ability to love without expecting him to earn it. The angels whisper, he was not prepared to be loved by someone who didn't need to be convinced. There is a war happening inside him. A tug between the boy who was once abandoned and the man who wants to be chosen. And he doesn't know how to bridge the two. He flinches not because of you, but because of the wounds you've unknowingly touched. Wounds that still bleed beneath his smile. You see, his hesitations are not rejections. They are echoes of his past. He was taught that love leaves. That softness is dangerous. That if he opens his heart, someone will walk away with it. So he became skilled at hiding. At keeping his truth locked away behind walls, even he forgets how to open. And then you arrived, with your laughter that felt like home, with your gentleness that disarmed every defense. You looked at him and didn't see brokenness. You saw a soul worthy of love. And he panicked. Because no one ever stayed after seeing all of him. And he's afraid you'll be no different. The angels say, he's not pushing you away because you did something wrong. He's pulling back because for the first time, everything feels too right. You touched the part of him he thought he had buried, the part that still longs to be loved without explanation. And now he's drowning in what that awakens. He doesn't know how to say, I want you here, but I'm scared you'll leave if I show you all of me. So he creates distance. Not to forget you, but to protect himself from how deeply he remembers. If he seems cold, it's because he's on fire inside. And no one ever taught him how to sit in that heat without running. Not every love story begins with certainty. Sometimes, the most powerful ones begin with resistance, because what you feel is too sacred to risk losing. He has been the center of your thoughts. The question mark that keeps coming back. But now the angels ask, who takes care of you while you wait for him to understand what you already feel? Your love is sacred. Not because of how it's received, but because of how it's given, pure, open, without expectation. But love does not ask you to vanish. It does not demand your exhaustion. The angels say, your light is not meant to burn out trying to keep another warm. You have a heart that holds the world, but even oceans need stillness. Even fire needs to be tended. It's okay to rest. To put your hand on your own heart and ask what you need. To step away from the story, not in abandonment, but in reverence for yourself. He is on a path. Yes. But so are you. And the danger is not in loving deeply, it's in forgetting that you are worthy of that love too. Your softness is not weakness. It is power. And it deserves to be mirrored. You do not have to keep proving your devotion through silence. You do not have to be the only one holding the thread of something that was meant to be mutual. Let your tenderness be your compass. But let your boundaries be your protection. There is a difference between being available and being self-sacrificing. Between holding space and holding all the weight alone. The angels whisper, your glow is not just for someone else's healing. It is also the flame that must light your own way. It's not selfish to step back and breathe. To reclaim the parts of you you've given away too freely. To say, I love you, but I must also love myself. Because if he is meant to rise and meet you, he must do so without relying on your wings to carry him. And if you keep choosing yourself, you will never be left behind. Not truly. Because the soul that knows its worth becomes magnetic, not from chasing, but from being. He didn't expect to see himself in your eyes. Not like that. Not with that kind of honesty, that quiet reflection that strips away the masks he forgot he was wearing. You became a mirror. But not the kind that flatters or reassures. You became the kind that shows truth. The kind that holds up the hidden, the unresolved, the unhealed. The angels say, she doesn't expose him to hurt, she reflects him to free. You weren't sent into his life to comfort his illusions. You were sent to awaken his essence. And that awakening, it's painful. Not because of you, but because it requires him to face what he's spent years hiding from. The lies he told himself to feel safe. The patterns he thought made him strong, but were really walls to keep love out. He sees the way you love. Raw. Present. And it forces him to question why he struggles to do the same. Your courage calls his fears to the surface. Your transparency challenges his pretense. Your faith, so grounded, so luminous, makes his doubts louder in contrast. This is not your fault. It's your gift. Because every time you show up as your full self, you peel away the layers he's used to survive. And somewhere beneath all that armor, he wants to be seen. He aches to be known. But he's never had to stand in front of someone who sees the whole of him, and stays. And that both humbles and terrifies him. The angels whisper, he resists not because he rejects you, but because your love makes hiding impossible. And when someone has lived in shadow, light can feel like exposure, even if it's warmth, even if it's safe. So he looks away. He pulls back. He doubts. But every time he returns to the only reflection that ever made him feel real. You. And what you reflect is not just his wounds, but the version of him that's still trying to be born. There's a shift in him now. It's subtle, like dawn breaking behind closed eyelids. But it's there. The angels have seen it. Something is waking up. Not with fireworks or fanfare, but with stillness. With longing. The thoughts he used to dismiss are now staying longer. The feeling he tried to bury has become a presence he can't silence. He hears your name in quiet moments. Feels your absence like a thread tugging at his ribs. The angels say, he's beginning to realize he can't unknow you. This isn't the kind of awakening that changes everything at once. It's not a movie scene or a grand gesture. It's the kind that happens when he's alone, when his soul finally gets loud enough to drown out the noise. He catches himself smiling at nothing. At memories. At thoughts of what could be if he were brave enough. He begins to question the stories he told himself, that he doesn't deserve this, that timing is wrong, that he's safer without love. But now, those old stories feel heavy, worn out. They don't fit anymore. And your presence, even if distant, is the echo calling him into something more. More honest. More open. More alive. The angels whisper, she planted truth where fear once ruled. And now truth is growing. He still hesitates. Still doesn't know what to say. But his heart is louder than before. And it's pointing toward you. You, who loved without an agenda. You, who didn't force. You, who simply believed. That belief? It lingers. And it's becoming his. He's beginning to wonder. What if love could actually stay? What if she's not here to hurt me, but to help me remember who I am? And in that wondering, something sacred stirs. A soul beginning to open its eyes. Not all at once, but enough to begin. He comes close, then disappears. Says something soft, then says nothing at all. And you are left in the echo, wondering what it means, what you did wrong, if love is supposed to feel like confusion. But the angels lean in now and say, this is not rejection. This is rhythm. The dance between fear and desire. He pulls away not because you are too much, but because what you awaken in him is. He returns because silence doesn't silence what he feels. His love is still in its chrysalis. And you've always been the spring. He runs, not to escape you, but to escape what he's becoming around you. Because becoming requires breaking. It asks him to step out of the story that kept him safe, and safety has been his only home. So he circles, back and forth, like waves testing the shore, never sure if they're meant to stay. But the pull? It's real. Stronger than ego. Deeper than pride. And you felt it, in the way his eyes soften when he forgets to protect himself. In the way his voice lingers when he says your name. In the pauses. The almosts. The I was going to say something but couldn't. The angels say, he is learning to trust the current that leads him to you. Each return is not a failure, but a step. Each silence is not abandonment, but breath. He is trying to unlearn how to run. Trying to relearn how to stay. And yes, it's exhausting. For you. To hold space for someone whose rhythm doesn't match your heart's steady beat. But there's growth in the cycle. If only you listen between the loops. Because eventually, if he chooses the truth over the comfort of his patterns, the cycle will break. And when it does, he will not come and go. He will arrive. And remain. There's a kind of love that doesn't shout. It doesn't demand to be seen. It just is. And that's what you've given him. Not a performance. Not a pursuit. But presence. And that presence has become his healing. The angels whisper, she didn't try to fix him, she just saw him. And that changed everything. He may not know how to say it. He may never be fluent in the language of feelings. But your energy, your stillness, your warmth, your light, has become the place where his soul begins to soften. Even in silence, you were medicine. Even in absence, you were a balm. He doesn't fully understand how. But he feels lighter when he thinks of you. Less guarded. Less cold. You see, love like yours seeps in through the cracks. It doesn't barge in. It waits. It breathes. It listens. And that's what makes it holy. You weren't loud about your love. You were consistent. And consistency has become his compass. Because in a world that taught him love was conditional, you came without terms. You stayed without contracts. And in that quiet staying, you redefined what connection means. The angels say, he's begun to feel safe in the memory of you. And safety is the beginning of surrender. Your love has done something no argument could do. No ultimatum. No performance. It healed him in secret places. And now, when he reaches for comfort, he finds your face. When he seeks clarity, he hears your voice. He may not show it, but your love has rewired something in him. Not all at once. Not loudly. But undeniably. Because true love doesn't always look like fireworks. Sometimes, it's the slow dissolving of fear. The steady return to feeling. The moment a heart says, maybe I could try again. You wonder if this is just wishful thinking. If you're holding on to a story that only you can feel. But the angels are clear. This path was written before time remembered your name. This is not random. This is not a passing ache. What you feel, what he feels, it's being orchestrated in realms that the mind cannot grasp. He was placed in your life, not to fill a space, but to open one. A space in him. A space in you. Where something sacred could rise. The delays? Not punishment. The distance? Not rejection. But timing, divine, intentional, and exact. You are not late. He is not lost. The unfolding is happening, in alignment. The angels say, trust the pauses. They are holy too. Even when the silence stings, even when you ache for clarity, know this, there are conversations happening in spirit before words reach his mouth. There are shifts within him that have no language yet, only longing. And just because you can't see the movement doesn't mean heaven isn't busy. You are being led. So is he. There is a force, quiet, unwavering, pushing him toward awakening, pulling you toward trust. Let go of the calendar. Let go of the need to name what this is. Just hold the thread. Hold it with grace. With hope. With that sacred knowing that says, if it was placed in my heart, then heaven is tending it. For the vision is yet for the appointed time, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not delay. Habakkuk 2 verse 3. The angels move when we think nothing's happening. They rearrange timelines. They stir hearts. They make room for the miracle. So keep breathing. Keep believing. You're not chasing love. You're walking its sacred path. He looks strong. Untouchable, maybe. But the angels show you a different truth. One he's still too afraid to speak. Beneath his calm, there is trembling. A heart that wants to reach for you, but flinches at the idea of being fully seen. You touched a place in him that never healed. And now it pulses every time he thinks of you. The angels whisper, he doesn't resist you. He resists the breaking your love requires. You didn't ask for everything. You only asked for honesty. But to him, honesty means exposure. Means surrender. Means perhaps falling apart in front of you. And that terrifies him. He has lived so long in survival. So long in roles and routines. He doesn't know how to make room for love without fearing it will cost him everything. So he shuts down. Withdraws. Not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels too much. The weight of his own silence is heavier than your presence. But even in the silence, he thinks of you. He wonders if you'd stay if you saw the mess. If you'd hold him when he's not composed. If your love would bend instead of break. The angels say, he is not avoiding the connection, he's avoiding the vulnerability it demands. You are not too much. You are just enough to crack the shell. And cracking hurts. But it's also how light gets in. How breath returns. How a guarded heart learns to beat without armor. He's on the edge. Of choosing truth over performance. Of letting go of the version of himself that never needed anyone. And you are the invitation. The mirror. The mercy. Don't chase. But don't stop believing. Because sometimes, before love can speak, it must first learn to cry. There comes a moment when striving ends. When the ache doesn't vanish, but softens into something sacred, a knowing beyond words. The angels speak now with quiet reverence. You are not waiting. You are becoming. Let that truth sink in. You were never meant to prove yourself worthy of love. You are love. Not because someone returns it. Not because he finally sees. But because you never stopped being it. What's unfolding isn't about what you receive, it's about what you remember. That you are whole, even when unanswered. That you are held, even in silence. That you are chosen, even when it feels like delay. He may come. He may arrive trembling and changed. Or not. And still, your worth remains untouched. Because the story was never only about him. It was about you. Finding your voice. Honoring your truth. Opening your hands and letting love flow without needing to catch it. The angels say, this was never punishment. It was preparation. For deeper joy. For higher alignment. For love that matches your becoming. So breathe. Release the timelines. Let the divine hold the outcome. And trust, what is meant will never lose its way to you. He may be your mirror. But you are your home. And in that home, the right love will knock gently, not as rescue, but as recognition. Be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46 verse 10. Not everything broken is yours to fix. Not every ending is a loss. Some are doorways, quiet, holy, final, into a love that starts with self and circles back only to what is sacred. What's yours will stay. What isn't will teach. But either way, you are already whole. Already enough. Already free.